Yo, 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 baby girl. The subject for this video, and I'm actually surprised I'm able to do a video for you guys because I had a huge day of training. I did 2 trainings, one in the morning, overhead press, heavy dips, same thing with overhead press, acrobatics. I worked on my projects and I'm still have juice to talk to you guys. So it's the resilience, things are going well. I'm thriving more and more. So why not? So the subject for this video, which I think is going to help tremendous amount of people, because a lot of people today are anxious, a lot of people are avoidant, and there's even a lot of people that are fearful avoidance, which is like the disorganized personality, which I used to be in the past. And the subject for this video, it's how do anxious and avoidant people deal with fear of loss. And some of you, it might trigger you in a sense that it's going to allow you to re-question yourself and make some realization about how you deal with relationships and even your goals and your projects, work, everything. So because I used to be a fearful avoidant, I know both sides. I know what it is to be an avoidant and I know what it is to be anxious. And also there's a spectrum with this, meaning if you're an anxious person and you're surrounded with people that are more anxious than you will seem like the avoidant. And same thing, if you're someone that's basically more avoidant, but you meet people that are more avoidant than you will look like the anxious person. So you see how it plays out? It all depends with who you're surrounding yourself with. But what I can tell you is that as you become more secure within your own skin, you're going to start surrounding yourself with people that are more at your level, but you'll also be able to deal with avoidance and anxious people because you'll get them. You'll understand where they're coming from. So you're just going to be able to go through life unbothered. So I'll start with anxious people. How do they deal with fear of loss? Well, anxious people are afraid to be abandoned, So what anxious people tend to do is they'll tend to overgive. They want to make sure that the person feels like they have all the love necessary so they don't get abandoned. And by doing so, anxious people tend to abandon themselves, meaning they'll sacrifice everything just to please the other person, even when it's not good for themselves. And the problem with that is that the other person, when you do this, well, quite often they'll take advantage of you. Sometimes they'll disregard you because they'll see that you're too easy. What happens, in life is when something comes too easy or it's too easily available, it becomes redundant and it becomes boring. Even me that's aware of all these little details, I guarantee you, if someone gives me something too much, even me, I'll be like, okay, can we slow it down? Can I do my own thing, or can we do less of that? So everybody's got their quota, everybody's got their limit. And that's the problem that a lot of anxious people are not able to deal with, is they don't know how to put limits on how much they want to give. It's like once they start giving, it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking, and there's no limit, and they can't control themselves, and then they burn themselves out. And then they also build resentment towards the person because they're like, look at everything I gave you. Well, it's like, yeah, but I never asked you to give me all that. You're the one that felt forced to do it or compelled. And also it's dangerous when the other person is kind of manipulative, because there's some people, they'll give you breadcrumbs of attention or affection because they know that you're going to come back running to them. And what's going to happen is you're going to overgive again, because there's some people that are aware of their anxiety and they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to back off from that because I give too much to that person and I'm too weak for that person. So I'm going to stay away. And you know what that person does, which is not nice at all? They'll go back to that person to suck their resources out. Whether it's a man to a woman or a woman to a man. It happens to both sexes. And that's not okay. And that's why, as an anxious person, you got to really learn to respect yourself. Take the time to do more good to yourself and be more selfish. You need to become more selfish. I know the word selfish sounds wrong, but that's the thing. You give too much. So how do you become balanced? You become more selfish. And that's something you have to work on every single day. It's not gonna change in one day. You might do it well for a certain time, and then somebody's going to come into your life and you're not even going to realize that you're overgiving again. Unless you journal. If you journal, if you really pay attention to how you behave in life, you might be able to like pinpoint it right away. And sometimes it's out of your control. Some people, they can be like, I guess this is who I am, but it's like, no, this is who you are now, but you can improve. You can become more like chill and know when to give. And you know, the power of someone that's anxious when they master their anxiety is that you'll know when to give, but when you give well. And that makes people like cherish you to a whole other level, because that's your strength. You know how to give to people. You know how to like please people. But the thing is, imagine if you know how to dose it, imagine how much good you can make other people feel. Because first of all, it's not going to be expected because you know how to dose it. And second of all, you're not going to burn yourself out. So that's why it's very important that you pay attention to this, anxious people. Now the avoidance, these motherfuckers. I was an avoidant too. I'm like the one that never fit with anyone. I was like the lone wolf, or the black duck, like I forgot the term for that. The outlier. That's what fearful avoidants are, because the majority of people are not fearful avoidants. There's more anxious or avoidant, but fearful avoidant is because you've dealt with big traumas in your youth. And the thing is, it could be messy because you don't know with who you fit, because you meet anxious people and your avoidance activates. Then you meet avoidance and your anxiety activates. So it's very painful situation. But once you get through it, you become actually what I call, what I say? I call fearful avoidance insecure secures. Is that it's like you give too much and you run away too much. But a secure person is a person that knows how to give and that knows how to give space as well. So you see why I'm saying this? But of course it doesn't make sense to say insecure secure. But you get what I'm saying probably by using that term. But yeah, so the avoidance, how do they deal with fear of loss? Well, the way they deal with fear of loss is that they will run away. Why? Because they're afraid of rejection. So what's going to happen is they're going to be in a situation where they will feel it in them that, yeah, I want to give more, I want to do more, but because they're afraid of being rejected, they hold back, they pull away, You saw me going like this? They pull away. And the thing is, it hurts too for them because it's out of their control. They really want to like build that courage to go forward, but because they're afraid that, they're going to be stepped on or dismissed, well, they don't say anything. And this is where you get in situations sometimes where both people are avoidants, but they truly care about one another, and no one says anything because both are afraid of rejection. And that's very sad. And the thing is, the best thing I can say for fearful avoidance, well, no, avoidance, but also fearful avoidance, if your avoidance side is activated, is you have to, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, no, it's gone. I might sneeze. But the thing is, you have to do everything in your possible power to get out of your comfort zone, but I would say gradually. There are certain things I know it's no way, you cannot do it, it's too much. Like, it feels like you're gonna die, like if you make the move and you get rejected. But the thing is, you gotta test yourself with things that you're uncomfortable with. And it doesn't have to be relationships. It can even be like trying something new that you've always wanted to start, but you're fearful of getting rejected or looking like a loser. Test yourself by doing new things. That's the best medicine for avoidance, because avoidance, they tend to stay in their comfort zone. It's hard for them to get out of that comfort zone. But you're gonna see it's gonna make you feel good. Think of things that you've always wanted to do, or maybe certain people you wanted to talk to or have in your life. And just test the waters gradually, go gradually. And you'll see as you do it more and more, you'll understand yourself more. And then you'll be able to act more like a secure person, which is, I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, good, And that's the power of testing yourself as an avoidant, you know, when you take your time. And that's what I did when my avoidant side would activate in past situations. What allowed me to get past it is to fight that fear. Is like, you know what, fuck it, like, just try. You know what's gonna happen? You're not gonna die. Like, the worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna get a rejection, and it's not the end of the world. Like, you know, life continues. There's so many opportunities in life. You know, like, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. I feel like avoidance, that's their issue a lot. They're very hard on themselves. You know, they have high expectations, and they always think that they won't be good enough. And I've went through that in the past. And no, you gotta remind yourself, I am good enough. I am worthy. I am able to provide value. And whoever decides to reject me, well, I guess they just couldn't see the value. But I guarantee you there's people that will see your value, and you just gotta keep going on with your life. You know, so you see how, like, both types of people deal with fear of loss, and it's very different. And that's why you can see that when an anxious person meets an avoidant, it could be very dangerous, because it causes what we call trauma bond. Is that the avoidant will keep getting chased by the anxious person, because the anxious person wants to prove herself or himself to the avoidant. And the avoidant is like, let me breathe, you know, like, I can't breathe because you're giving me, it's too much, you know, it's scary, you know, because, and the other thing too is sometimes it feels like a trap. That's the problem. Like, when an anxious person tries to show too much to an avoidant, that, look, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to be there, they feel like it's a trap to then after just reject them. That's how they see it. That's how you have to learn how to balance all that stuff. So I hope this video gave you guys some value. If you enjoyed it, you can like. You can maybe drop in the comments, if you're comfortable, what type of attachment you have. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out future videos. I'll see you guys soon, and take good care of yourself.